Welcome to my channel, Dom Bat's Weight Loss Journey. I'm Dominic Batstone, and this is my review of the Hydrow Rower. I won't cover everything. There are many videos on YouTube that do that, but I'll cover things that I believe are interesting. Right, so as you can see, it's actually quite a big machine. So you can store it upright, but you need a special kit for that off their website, which is about $80 or so. So it's 86 inches long, 219 centimeters, and 25 inches wide, which is 64 centimeters. The seat height is 16 inches, 41 centimeters off the floor. When it comes in the box is 91 inches long and 232 centimeters, or 33 inches high, 84 centimeters high, and 18 inches wide, 46 centimeters. And the box, with the machine inside it obviously, weighs 197 pounds, which is 90 kilograms. So bear that in mind when you order one. Can you move a box of that size through your door? Right, so you may have noticed I have two speakers either side of the rower. So if you move in closer, you can see the speakers in the screen here. They're just here like sort of almost like TV speakers, and they're fine, you know. You can hear things. You can hear the athlete talking, and you can hear the music. But if you want to be blasted, that's not enough. So you can connect Bluetooth speakers, but I'm using an Alexa Dot, which is just down the radiator, and that's Bluetooth into the speakers, so I can play whatever I want. Because, to be fair, the music choices were not to my liking, particularly because I'm a bit fussy. So I like a bit of Armin van Buuren and Ali and Fila and the Future Sound of Egypt pumping out, blasting me in the face, which is why I've got those active speakers. And to be fair, on Amazon, stuff like this, it's not that expensive. I think I paid £100 for them, and they are awesome. The second thing you've probably noticed is just hiding behind the screen there is a fan. So there isn't a built-in fan in the screen or anything. Like at the gym, sometimes you have machines that have a little fan built into the screen. This one doesn't. So I sweat a lot, even though the UK isn't particularly a hot country, apart from summer. So I've got a fan that blasts air at my face as I'm sitting on the seat. I was wondering why I've got a Concept 2 mat. I did actually have a Concept 2 first. It's a long story. As you hopefully watched my previous video, where I said I brought Concept 2 to use my Peloton app on it, hooking up an iPad or something to the rower, because the new PM5 computer I have on Concept 2 is compatible with the Peloton. Anyway, to cut a long story short, the rower I got, it was reconditioned, but it was so old, it was misadvertised, that I sent it back. And that's how I ended up with the Hydrow. So it was almost like by mistake. I didn't even consider it. I was just going to get Concept 2. It's the one everyone uses for high rocks and things. It's the one the gyms have, and it's the one I was used to. It's funny how things work out, because I'm super glad that I got Hydrow, because it is awesome. If I had a Concept 2, would I have got bored? I think I don't know. But I'm glad I got this, to be honest. It is awesome. So the ride a few days ago on the Peloton for the first time in a month, it was my most powerful ride over 30 minutes I've ever done. So I've had the Peloton maybe 5 or 6 years just before COVID, and I was blown away by that. And the only reason for that is the Hydrow, because it's a better workout. Ultimately, you use 86% of your muscles, your legs, your feet, your core, your lungs, obviously your heart. And I was just like blown away, because my legs were stiff after doing a strength workout the day before. I did lots of squats. So my legs had a bit of DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. I thought I'll just have a quick recovery ride on the Peloton. I'll just go for a quick ride, you know, put in some pumping house music, and then blew everyone away. And I was 20th or 21st out of like 450. And that's quite surprising in itself, being a guy that is overweight by about 50 pounds, and I'm not exactly Mr. Fitness. So that was good for my ego, to be fair, and it made a good video. Well, 2 good videos, including this one. So yeah, that was good. The screen is really clear. It's got lovely contrast. In fact, I don't think there's any controls for that. I'm not sure. I've never checked in the settings. Let's see. Oh, there we are, display brightness. Okay, it's only brightness, not contrast, but it's fine. It's perfect, to be honest. Ooh. Okay, cool. So you can connect a heart rate monitor, Bluetooth audio, the Wi-Fi, the Ethernet cable, things like that, which is very nice. If we go into the library, there are thousands of different classes. It's fairly easy to filter, I think. So you can go by duration, you can filter by athlete. It's an alphabetical order. I found that the athletes are actually really, really good. They are quite funny, especially Akil here. He's always got some jokes to crack. I find them very motivational. They're not like the instructors on Peloton who start just dancing around, stuff like that. Obviously, when you're rowing out in the water like these guys, you can't start dancing because you'll probably tip over or something. But I just find they're a bit more professional and motivational, and they've always got feedback on the technique. You can choose the categories. So we have breathe, sweat, and drive. So I basically see it as easy, medium, and hard. But then you have other types of category. So we've got mobility, which maybe I should be doing because I can't reach the volume buttons. We've got stretching and Pilates and yoga, which are obviously off the rower. They're outside on the floor. You got Peter here. He does their strength training off the rower, which is quite cool. So for the monthly cost of the app, you're actually getting not only the rower, but you're getting stretching and yoga and strength as well, which is quite cool. In the type, we've got things like assessment, which I guess on the Peloton will be the FTP test. We've got all the upper and lower body, cardio, instructional. So let's have a look at that, because when you get the Hydrow, you need to take 3 classes first to sort of teach you how to row. But I found that isn't enough. So I wanted to get into sort of strapless rowing where you're not actually tied down with your feet, because I found my technique I'd learned over the years was incorrect, and I was literally putting myself back to the front of the rower. So there are ones in here that will teach you to have loose straps so you don't go flying off the back of the rower. We've got things like how to engage lats, how to sit straight, how to drive your legs, because obviously on the rower, most of the drive comes from your big, powerful legs, then from your back and core, and then finally your arms. Which is it's really interesting, actually, because I found out I was actually a terrible rower before I got the Hydrow, and in the last month, I have really improved. They also have one-to-one coaching, which is an additional cost. But I had one session with a lady called Megan, and I found it really, really useful. And she sent me a whole load of classes to follow up on, basically. So look at my favorites. These are some of the ones that my coach has recommended. So I've got things like core connection, recovery phase. We've got, plant your feet cool downs. This is one around having loose straps, basically, to try and force you to have a good technique rather than just going backwards and forwards and not pivoting correctly and things like that. There are some collections. So we've got destinations like Hawaii, we've got the UK, there's Italy there, yoga for sleep. Interestingly, we have these clubs. There's Club 18, which is actually a group on Facebook as well. There's Club 26. These are your strokes per minute. So I found a lot of the classes have a fairly high stroke rate, sort of starting at like 22 and going on up to sort of over 30. And I found with my poor technique when I started this, I found it really hard to keep up properly and not hurt myself on the faster stroke ones. So we have Club 18, which is 18 strokes a minute by their instructor, James. They're really good. He's quite a motivational guy, actually. And you keep your stroke at 18 strokes per minute, but you're encouraged to use more power rather than just going backwards and forwards and maybe momentum. So I did one last night, and I found it to be perfect for me. So if you're just starting out on this and you can't keep up on those fast strokes per minute rows, which I'm not a big fan of personally. I prefer to have a strong but slow stroke rate. Then check out the Club 18 on here and on the Facebook group. So some of these do have a higher drag. So out of the box, this is a drag factor of 104, which they say is like being on water. That's like, okay. And it goes from 0 to 300. I don't know what the units are. It's just 0 to 300, off you go. So 300 is really strong. I tried it, and it would be a really hard strength workout, I think. But there's no way on these filters to find a class that has a higher drag row. I mean, I haven't really played these, but I guess there was one called Power, I think, somewhere. Let's see, category maybe. Let's see if there's Power. Oh, strength building. That's probably off the rower. No, so I find it hard to find. When I did the tutoring, Megan gave me some with particular dates. There's no date on these. There's no search button, so some of them I just couldn't find. So there's two things there I don't really like. The filtering could be improved, and I'll probably potentially use this button here and send feedback to Hydrow straight from the rower, which is quite cool actually. Okay, one of the things I don't particularly like is the position of the volume buttons. So if we move to the screen, I'm not exactly Mr. Stretchy, but I haven't warmed up anything. I can just touch the screen there. So the button's up here on the side, just there. You can see the volume moving. So I find that really hard to get to. So I guess for most people, it'd be very hard to change volume as you're rowing. I understand you've got the handle moving backwards and forwards and things like that, but I thought if you just had them here, it'd be much easier. That's one little quirk, I think, that annoys me a little bit, to be fair. Come to think of it, the thing with the volume buttons, it would be nice to have voice commands. Like, I've got a Amazon dot here next to the rower. So say Hydrow, increase volume, for those people that find it hard to reach the screen. So I got a really good deal on Hydrow. I just stumbled across their site by chance. You know how Facebook listens, or the cookies provided with information for things you're looking at. I was on Facebook and it started popping up with things about rowers. One of those things was Hydrow. I think it suggested a group or an advert or something. So I thought, I'll check it out. And got a really good deal. It was actually nearly half price, which made it a no-brainer, because I was going to get a Concept 2, but the price was pretty similar, excluding the price of the ongoing membership anyway. One strange thing, though, was they didn't offer an extended warranty. So if you look at the Hydrow website, it does talk about it, but there was no offer to buy it. And when I contacted support, they said it's not available currently, which I guess it doesn't concern me too much if it's reliable, but if it breaks down, you can't just get a washing machine person around to fix it. It's an unusual piece of equipment, so to have to contact Hydrow, I have no idea how much it will cost. It's a premium piece of equipment, it could be expensive. I like the peace of mind to have an extended warranty. If they did 5 years for £100 or £200, that would be amazing, but they didn't. The other strange thing is there doesn't seem to be a store to buy clothing. So Peloton have a store where you can buy all the stuff that the instructors wear. It's actually quite pricey, but it's supposed to be quite good stuff. But it builds up the brand, doesn't it? People want to be associated with Peloton. So the instructors on the Hydrow are all wearing Hydrow branded shirts and trousers and things. So why can't I buy them? So in conclusion, I guess, if you're in the market for an indoor rower and you have the space and you have the money, and you don't mind an ongoing charge, then I would seriously say check out Hydrow. I love it. It's done wonders for my fitness in just 1 month. As we saw from the video I did the other day on the Peloton, where I did my most powerful 30-minute ride ever, and I hadn't been on the bike for over a month, and that's down to the Hydrow, basically. The whole point of this series of videos really is to follow my weight loss journey using Mounjaro. subscribe. So I hope you watch my other videos because it's been quite an interesting experience. And that's been a month. So I got the Mounjaro and the Hydrow at the same time. So I've lost 15 pounds, which is just over 7 kilos, or just under 7 kilos, something like that. Anyway, when you think about that, in 1 month, that's 7 bags of sugar. That's heavy. And I've had lots of, not side effects, but I still have hunger and I have the food noise. So the Mounjaro on its starting dose of 2.5 milligrams has not fully kicked in yet for me. So I've started the 5 milligram yesterday. So I just find the reduction in food intake, because I've been calorie counting and using the Hydrow, has probably been 50% or more of that weight loss journey. So anyway, I'm rambling on a bit. I love it. So if you're in the market for a rower, check out Hydrow. Goodbye. Subscribe. 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 Goodbye.